Hi, in our last episode we talked about realistic battles mode for aircraft. In this video we will show and tell you how RB works in tank warfare. Here on the ground, most players prefer arcade mode as well, though realistic battles are extremely popular among clans and teens. This is the mode that is played at War Thunder esports tournaments, and squadron battles as well, which is another important element of War Thunder esports. In order to get into a realistic mode battle, we first pick our tanks and, you guessed it, aircraft as well. Here tanks and planes fight it out together on a single map and can engage each other at any time. You, as a player, can jump into a battle on an aircraft after being destroyed on a tank and avenge your demise with a bomb over your killer's head. Just make sure you pick both tanks and planes in a way so that their combat rating is more or less similar. The game assigns players to battles based on top rating vehicles they currently have selected. In other words, any vehicle with a lower rank among others, more powerful machines, will be thrown in a high-tier meat grinder. After selecting your vehicles, select realistic battles instead of the usual arcade. After the map is done loading, you can pick your first vehicle as usual. The number of available vehicles here is determined by your respawn points, default number of which is 450. This number is purposely not enough to pick a plane right in the beginning of a battle. To pick a plane, you will need to earn additional respawn points in battle. The same applies for other tanks in your roster as well. Each consecutive respawn with the same class of vehicle will have its respawn cost doubled, so only the most effective players will ever get to respawn more than twice. Okay, here we are, finally on the ground. You will immediately notice the difference in the interface. The almighty penetration assist marker is gone, replaced by a simple white circle. The automatic rangefinder does not work any longer, so you will have to tell the distance by heart or by using the range-finding reticle of your scope, as we have demonstrated in one of our previous tutorials. The markers of the enemy vehicles are gone altogether, so from now on, you will have to actually use your eyes. The interface is just the tip of the iceberg. Soon you will see other differences of the realism in both the physics and damage models. It is much easier to detrack in RB by hitting a rock or a tree. The engine will lose about 30% of its power. To be honest, this is how the engine is supposed to behave, because in arcade it was tuned up versus its actual historical horsepowers. Even the turret in arcade mode turns twice as fast. Gun elevation is done there 4 times faster, while tank turning is upped by 70%. Overall, these differences are not as drastic as an air combat of arcade versus realistic, so you should get a feel for a new physics model rather fast. The principles of combat are the same. In order to win, you will need to destroy all enemy vehicles or capture and hold most points on the map and wait until your enemy's points vanish entirely. There are 2 key differences in tactics. First off, now aircraft is a part of the picture. Second thing, the vehicle arsenal is seriously limited, mostly by the respawn points that you're given in the beginning of the battle. Whereas the running out of points victory in arcade is typical, here in RB you can actually destroy your opponent's entire fleet of vehicles. As soon as your tank is destroyed, it is time to get on a plane to help your teammates on the ground secure all strategic locations. Just remember that your opponent is not a bunch of helpless and slow tanks. In RB, the Tripoli Vehicles play a major role where they can rip enemy planes to bits at low altitude. Tripoli Vehicles are a special class that makes little difference in arcade, but is invaluable in RB. These are always light and often up-and-topped vehicles with thin armor, but if used right, can be a real asset in covering your tanks from enemy aircraft. But with these vehicles, you best stay away from the actual front line though. Stay behind the main advance and concentrate your efforts on enemy aircraft. Note that aim assist marker will be absent here as well, so you can take out enemy aircraft from several kilometers away as easy. To be an effective AA gunner, you will need your wits about you and a sharp eye to boot. First, get to a good position. It should be open enough to engage aerial targets, but concealed from direct ground-to-ground fire. Finding such a position can be tricky, but they're available on almost every map. Also, keep an eye out on your ammo reserve and fire sparingly, so that you don't need to lug yourself all the way back to reload. It also serves a second purpose. Short bursts are harder to notice, thus harder to tell where the fire is coming from. Last important difference of the tank RB is the huge map that is unavailable to arcade players. We're talking about Kursk. When you have truly learned how to tell the range to your target, which plays a huge part in this map, only then you're ready for Kursk. There is nowhere to hide here. The firefight begins at extreme ranges, and more often than not, the one who fired the first shot wins the duel. The main objective of this mission, unlike many others, is to destroy the enemy ground targets in around one large key location, the A point. You need to defend it or capture and hold it. All the other maps are mostly identical to arcade mode battles. Wow, should you try RB if you just started playing the game? In all honesty, no. The friendly arcade mode is more dynamic and easier to enjoy. It also helps you get bearings with the game, learn the vulnerabilities of enemy tanks, and get a feel of firing mechanics at different ranges. Soon, you will kind of absorb that special little green crosshair and will be able to do well without it. When you feel that you did, it is time to move on to RB. Finally, we have a few simple but important things to tell you. In your first battles, do not ever rush forward. Take caution and stay away from the main group of players. Try and use the sniper scope more often and aim for the enemy's modules. Don't be hasty on the trigger either. One good shot is better than 2 ricochets. And of course, keep an eye out on the sky. In one of our future videos, we will talk about the simulator mode for true hardcore players. Stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, and keep an eye out for more tutorials on War Thunder. Good luck in the war!